Good evening, it's 8 o'clock and tonight the main focus of the news is India's new president, Droupadi Murmu, her taking over a watershed moment for India, as the Prime Minister said. So today, President Murmu's historic swearing in her speech, she says it's a triumph of our democracy that a daughter born in a poor house in a remote tribal area can today reach the highest constitutional post in India. China's President Xi congratulates President Murmu, saying he hopes it lays stable ties with India. In her village, hope and inspiration. She says today that primary education was a dream from me. NDTV reports from the President's School. Week 2 of Parliament, protests and suspensions. No placards allowed. The Speaker suspends for Congress MPs. The Prime Minister attacks the opposition, saying put the country before the party. Chor chants against TMC Minister Chatterjee in AIIMS Bhubaneswar. AIIMS gives him a clean chit, says the minister's health is fine. But the West Bengal Chief Minister attacks the centre, saying why was he sent to a central hospital, adding that I don't support corruption, I pay even for my tea. I dare the BJP to cross the Bay of Bengal and face crocodiles. Tomorrow, it's Ambani versus Adani in the big 5G auction tomorrow as a four-way race for 5G spectrum starts. The government hopes for 1 lakh crores from the sale of 5G spectrum. In Tamil Nadu, the second student death in 2 weeks. A class 12 girl student found dead in her school hostel. Vicky and Katrina complain of an online stalker. Vicky complains to the police, saying death threats against us. A struggling actor morphs Katrina pictures. Ranveer's nude pictures now face flack as the BJP leader files a complaint in a Mumbai police station, saying arrest Ranveer Singh. Our lead story tonight, India's new president Droupadi Murmu is creating history in more ways than one. Her inspirational life journey, meaning that today, across the board from different parts of India, accolades and celebrations poured in.
Warm smiles, warm greetings.
मैं द्रौपदी मुर्मू भारत के राष्ट्रपति पद का कार्यपालन करूंगी। मैं द्रौपदी मुर्मू ईश्वर की शपथ लेती हूँ कि भारत के राष्ट्रपति पद का कार्यपालन करूँगी।
At 10:15 a.m. today, Droupadi Murmu became India's 15th president, creating history, becoming the first tribal to do so.
सभी को जोहार।
Opening her speech with a traditional tribal greeting, she underscored her roots, which will guide her focus in her presidency.
मैं जिस पृष्ठभूमि से आती हूँ, वहाँ मेरे लिए प्रारंभिक शिक्षा प्राप्त करना भी एक सपने जैसा ही था। लेकिन अनेक बाधाओं के बावजूद मेरा संकल्प दृढ़ रहा और मैं कॉलेज जाने वाली अपने गांव की पहली बेटी थी। मेरा निर्वाचन इस बात का सबूत है कि भारत में गरीब सपने भी देख सकता है और उन्हें पूरा भी कर सकता है। मैं देश की ऐसी पहली राष्ट्रपति भी हूँ जिसका जन्म आजाद भारत में हुआ है। ये हमारे लोकतंत्र की ही शक्ति है कि उसमें एक गरीब घर के पैदा होने बेटी दूर सुदूर आदिवासी क्षेत्र में पैदा हुई बेटी भारत के सर्वोच्च संवैधानिक पद तक पहुंच सकती है।
There was no departure in the swearing-in ceremony as the tri-services lined the route to Parliament from Rashtrapati Bhavan, giving the new president a guard of honor. Her daughter Itishri, who was present for the swearing-in ceremony, will be staying with her in Rashtrapati Bhavan for the next 5 years. Prime Minister Modi called Murmu's assumption as a watershed movement, especially for the poor and the downtrodden.
संथाल क्रांति, पाइक क्रांति से लेकर कोल क्रांति और भील क्रांति ने स्वतंत्रता संग्राम में आदिवासी योगदान को और सशक्त किया।
Governors, chief ministers, judges were all present for the swearing-in ceremony. With tribals constituting 9% of India's population and the BJP's renewed focus to showcase Murmu's rise to the highest office, the focus now shifts to her role as president and protecting India's constitution and ensuring it's followed in letter and spirit. With camera persons Ashok Male and Ashwini, Sunil Prabhu, NDTV.
As the first girl to go to college from her village, as the first person from a village to become Jharkhand governor, she also the first to become a state minister, Droupadi Murmu already had many firsts. She talked in her speech today of how primary education in her village was a dream. Today, as Harsha reports, many things haven't changed, but what's new is the hope and inspiration that President Droupadi Murmu has brought.
मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, सभी को जोहार।
In far-off Mayurbhanj, an enthralled audience watched President-elect Droupadi Murmu take oath. But she is better known as Didi here in this town of Rai Rangpur and in her village of Upparbeda, where she began a journey of humble beginnings.
मैं जिस पृष्ठभूमि से आती हूँ, वहाँ मेरे लिए प्रारंभिक शिक्षा प्राप्त करना भी एक सपने जैसा ही था।
Today, as she took oath, Droupadi Murmu referred several times to this remote landscape, its tradition and culture, and how its people see her as a symbol of hope. The Aurobindo Integral School, where she taught without taking a single rupee as a salary, came in for a special mention.
बहुत अच्छे से बच्चों को पढ़ाती थी, जो भी नहीं समझ सकता उसको प्यार से उसको समझाते थे और बच्चों को जैसे उनके अंदर में जी लाए पढ़ाई के लिए फर्स्ट को लेकर चॉकलेट सामने टेबल के ऊपर रखती थी, जो अच्छा फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन देती था उसको चॉकलेट देती थी।
हम मैडम का कहना चाहेंगे कि वो हमारे स्कूल पर आए और एक बार पढ़ाए। हम बहुत ही खुश है और राष्ट्रपति बने, बहुत खुश।
In her village of Upparbeda, nothing much has changed. Even today, for children here, completing their education is a struggle.
ये स्कूल तो 8 क्लास तक ही है और पढ़ने के लिए तो वो रायरंगपुर जाते हैं और सभी को तो सुविधा तो नहीं है, वो यहाँ पे पढ़ना चाहते हैं, लेकिन यहाँ तो 8 क्लास तक ही है।
In her first address as President, Droupadi Murmu greeted the nation with a traditional Adivasi greeting of Johar. And for the backward tribal population of this area, her elevation has meant a dignity and a representation that they otherwise lacked. In Mayurbhanj, with Haribansh Sharma, Harsha Kumari Singh, NDTV.
Thanks, Harsha, for that report. In other news, China's Premier Xi has congratulated President Murmu, saying that a healthy and stable China-India relationship serves the fundamental interests of the two countries and people. The Chinese president's congratulatory message to India's new president was reported by Chinese state media. Well, today was also the second day of the monsoon session of Parliament, which followed a familiar pattern. It was disrupted again and again by the opposition asking for an immediate discussion on GST and price rise. The government saying they will hold the discussion under proper rules, and the finance minister is back from COVID. Today, 4 MPs are suspended for waving placards next to the speaker. The speaker said no placards in Parliament. The Prime Minister, also in a separate function, attacked the opposition and saying put the nation before the party.
हाल के समय में विचारधारा या राजनीतिक स्वार्थों को समाज और देश के हित से भी ऊपर रखने का चलन शुरू हो गया है। कई बार तो सरकार के कामों में विपक्ष के कुछ इसलिए अड़ंगे लगाते हैं क्योंकि जब वो सत्ता में थे तो अपने लिए फैसले वो लागू नहीं कर पाए। अब अगर उनका क्रियान्वयन होता है तो उसका विरोध करते हैं।
आप अगर चर्चा करना चाहते हैं तो 3 बजे मैं चर्चा शुरू करने को तैयार हूं, और अगर आप तख्तियां और नारेबाजी करना चाहते हैं तो 3 बजे बाद आप तख्तियां नाराबाजी करने का आपको अधिकार इस सदन से बाहर होगा।
मैं नियम 374 के अंतर्गत सभा के नियमों का दुरुपयोग करने के लिए आप सभी का नाम लेता हूं। श्री मणिकम टैगोर जी, श्री TN प्रतापन जी, सुश्री ज्योतिमणि जी, सुश्री रामैया हरिदास जी।
4 Congress Lok Sabha MPs, including Congress Whip Manikam Tagore, have been suspended in the Lok Sabha for holding placards and raising slogans in the House demanding discussion on GST hike, inflation and fuel price rise.
आप सदन के अंदर तख्तियां लाना छोड़ दे माननीय सदस्य प्लीज, नहीं तो मुझे सदन की मर्यादा के लिए कार्रवाई करने के अलावा कोई विकल्प नहीं बचेगा।
All the opposition parties were led by the Congress party is asking for a discussion in the parliament on GST, price rise, on those issues related to the people. We will protest. We will go to Gandhi statue every day as suspended MPs. We will come back to the parliament. We will protest and we will continue to protest.
Both the houses of parliament were adjourned without any business conducted as opposition members protested over the price rise issue, demanding a discussion in the presence of the Prime Minister.
The House stands adjourned till 4 p.m.
The government says that the discussion will happen after Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman recovers from COVID.
सरकार महंगाई के ऊपर चर्चा करने के लिए पूरी तरीके से तैयार है। महंगाई की डिबेट से, महंगाई की चर्चा से विपक्ष भाग रही है। विपक्ष डर रही है कि उनका पर्दाफाश होगा।
इस तरीके से सदन नहीं चल सकता।
4 Congress Lok Sabha MPs have been suspended for the remaining days of the monsoon session.
अंतिम बार आग्रह कर रहा हूं।
Even last year's winter session was stormy as 12 opposition members were suspended in the Rajya Sabha for indulging in disruptions.
No placards behind the member, please. Honorable members, no.
Sources say the Rajya Sabha chairman and the Lok Sabha speaker will soon convene the meeting of the respective floor leaders to end the deadlock as the government plans to bring important legislations in the coming days. With camera person Ashwini Mehra, this is Arvind Gunasekar for NDTV.
Well, the other big political story coming from West Bengal. Today, TMC Minister Partha Chatterjee reached AIIMS Bhubaneswar to face these slogans of Chor Chor. And after that, AIIMS Bhubaneswar has said that he is fine and he can actually be taken into ED custody. The High Court has to decide on that. But meanwhile, Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee spoke out saying she's against corruption and attacking the BJP.
Actor Orpita Mukherjee being produced in court after a medical checkup. It was the recovery of cash from her residence and allegedly incriminating documents that cemented the ED's case against Partha Chatterjee, leading to his arrest. While Partha Chatterjee is considered close to Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, Orpita Mukherjee shares a close relationship with Partha Chatterjee and the Trinamool has distanced itself from her. But the ED is probing the nature of the relationship between Partha Chatterjee and Orpita Mukherjee.
As the BJP targets the TMC over alleged corruption, Mamata Banerjee's stern message to her party men.
যদি কেউ চোর হয়, ডাকাত হয়, তৃণমূল কংগ্রেস পেয়ার করে না। আমি নিজের ছেলেদের অ্যারেস্ট করেছি অনেকগুলো। আমি নিজের এমএলএ এমপি কাউকে স্পেয়ার করি না অন্যায় করলে, মিনিস্টারও স্পেয়ার করি না, মাথায় রাখবেন। কিন্তু অযথা আমার গায়ে কালি ছেটানোর চেষ্টা করলে মনে রাখবেন আলকাতরা কিন্তু আমার হাতেও আছে।
কিছু বলবে?
আইনের উপর আস্থা রাখি, এটাই বলবো। আইন আইনের পথে চলবে।
Orpita Mukherjee, now at the center of the ED's case against Bengal Minister Partho Chatterjee, lived much of her life in this modest home in the far-flung suburb of Belghoria near Kolkata. Her aging mother says she visited her last week for about an hour to inquire about her health.
লাস্ট কি কথা হলো আমার সাথে, কি কথা, মাকে দেখতে আসে, এদের সাথে কথাবার্তা বলে, কি খাচ্ছো, কি ওষুধ ঠিক মতো খাচ্ছো কিনা।
The Enforcement Directorate says recoveries are completed, but they're still probing assets linked to the minister and the actor. Sources say the ED is also probing alleged Hawala transactions and whether Orpita Mukherjee was just used as a conduit or had an active role to play in the conspiracy. Based on the recoveries, sources say the ED is probing 2 apparel firms linked to the actor. Orpita Mukherjee has been the face of Partho Chatterjee's Durga Pujo in Naktala area of Kolkata since 2019, and the ED says Orpita Mukherjee is closely linked to the alleged conspiracy. The ED also says Partho Chatterjee has been targeting and threatening ED officers.
Mamata Banerjee continues to take on the BJP for allegedly targeting opposition-ruled states with the help of central agencies. But in the case of Partho Chatterjee, while the party has been aggressive when it comes to targeting the BJP, they are taking a slightly more nuanced stand by saying that any action against Partho Chatterjee will follow only after the courts pronounce him guilty. Until then, the party will not tolerate any corruption. With camera person G.D. Shankar in Kolkata, Saurabh Gupta, NDTV.
Well, moving to the other big story, tomorrow is the big 5G spectrum auction and you're going to see, well, India's richest men, the Ambanis versus the Adanis on that race tomorrow, including also Airtel and Vodafone. Priyanshi has the details.
Sonia, a crucial step towards making 5G a reality will start tomorrow. 5G auctions will start from July 26th and it will be a multiple round e-auction. The government is expected to raise around 1 lakh crore from this auction. Now, who all are in the race? Reliance Jio, Bharti Airtel, Vodafone Idea and Adani Data will be bidding for 72 gigahertz of spectrum that will be auctioned for 20 years. Now, what can be expected? Reliance Jio is expected to be the highest bidder. Here's why. Earlier this month, the bidders submitted their earnest money deposit, which essentially gives us an idea of how much they're willing to put in the auction. 21,400 crores in earnest money deposit was submitted by these 4 players. Out of this, Jio's earnest money deposit was the highest at 14,000 crore, followed by Bharti Airtel, Vodafone Idea and Adani Data. Now coming to what this could mean for us. 5G will make your download time down from hours to seconds. As per a US think tank, Bipartisan Policy Center, the time taken for downloading a 5 GB movie with 2G was 2.8 days. With 3G, you needed 2 hours. 4G required 40 minutes, but with 5G, it will go down to just 35 seconds. The government too says that 5G will become 10 times faster than 4G. Though the auction starts tomorrow, experts say that it will still take a year or so for 5G to actually be rolled out and for it to become a reality on all our devices. But of course, the auction will decide which companies will get the airwaves to provide 5G in India.
Priyanshi, we'll be watching that auction closely, but let's just look at the other stories. Well, tragic news from Tamil Nadu, where in less than 2 weeks, another young teenage girl in class 12 has been found dead in a college hostel. It's not clear what exactly happened in this case, but it's tragic that 2 young girls have died within the space of 2 weeks on school campuses.
Protests in Tirutani after a class 12 student was found hanging this morning at a school hostel in Thiruvallur district, around 75 kilometers away from Chennai. No suicide note has been found. Police have been deployed in big numbers, both at a school and village, as a precautionary measure. The case has been transferred to the CID's crime branch, as a recent High Court order said Any suspicious death in an educational institution will be probed by the CID.
எல்லாருமே அவங்களோட முதல் கட்ட நடவடிக்கையை என்கொயரியை பண்ணிட்டாங்க. ஸோ பண்ணிட்டு இப்போ தற்கொலைன்றதுனால மாணவின்றதுனால இப்போ ரீசெண்டான ஹைகோர்ட்டோட ஸ்டிப்புலேஷன் இருக்கிறதுனால அதை இமீடியட்டாக நாங்கள் வந்து சிபிசிஐடிக்கு ட்ரான்ஸ்ஃபர் பண்ணிட்டோம்.
It's a disturbing trend. Last week, riots broke out in Kallakurichi district 5 days after Srimati, a class 12 student, was found dead in suspicious circumstances at a college hostel. In the note, she had blamed 2 teachers of humiliating her over her academic performance. 5 members from the school, including 2 teachers and the principal, have been arrested.
I urge Honorable Minister of School Education, Anbil Mahesh Sir, to immediately take action to appoint school counsellors in schools. Appointing a school counsellor is as much important as having teachers in the school, because children will open up and speak to school counsellors only.
Unrelated cases, but a disturbing trend of youngsters unable to cope with academic and other pressures both at home and school. Besides relationship issues on return to physical classes after a long phase of online learning. Tamil Nadu leads in higher education, but this would require systemic corrective action. In Chennai with Suresh, Sam Daniel, for NDTV.
An extremely sad story there. But looking at other news coming in on monkeypox, well, the WHO regional director has said today that in Southeast Asia there is still a moderate risk of contracting monkeypox, but the need is to stay alert.
The risk of monkeypox globally and in the WHO Southeast Asia region is assessed as moderate, considering this is the first time that monkeypox cases and clusters are reported concurrently in many countries in widely disparate WHO geographic areas.
Well, in other news, Vicky Kaushal was at a Mumbai police station today to complain about a stalker who he said was giving him and Katrina online death threats and stalking her. The stalker has now been arrested. He's a struggling actor who apparently threatened both of them on Instagram and also morphed many of his pictures with Katrina, in many cases replacing Vicky Kaushal in pictures that they had posted on social media, including their wedding pictures. So this struggling actor there could have first been just as a fan, but became dangerous when he posted death threats against Vicky and Katrina. Meanwhile, also in the police station right now is a row over Ranveer Singh's nude pictures for an international magazine. A BJP leader and advocate has filed a complaint with the Mumbai police saying that he should be arrested because of the nude photo shoot, saying that he is a hero to the youth and these pictures hurt women's sentiments.